Hi guys, welcome to video 2 in this 3-video series of appreciating seasons and times. In the first video, we had a chat about the biggest lie we believe about seasons. And if you want to catch up on that video, you're welcome to click on it here. In this video, we're going to unpack how do we harness every season to our advantage. And that kind of sets us up for the last video where we'll really touch on how do we appreciate and understand and discover the purpose of a season. And what do we do if we can't? My name is Emile Raubenheimer. Thank you for watching. Let's dive right in. I think there's a poetic beauty to what a tree experiences in its 4 seasons. And it's almost like sometimes we don't appreciate winter specifically because we can't see the value of winter. It's dry, it drops all its leaves, you can't really see growth. But in the winter season, the roots are pushing deeper, it's increasing capacity. So that when spring comes and the heat returns, the warmth returns, the tree has the ability to expand because the foundations that it has available can carry more weight. And so this almost inspires a new season of growth. That then translates into leaves that expands its ability to absorb energy from the environment and grow and spread out. In the autumn season, it's a reprioritizing. It's almost a preparation for a new season of growth, but this growth in the winter is beneath the surface. And isn't it true that so many of us experience the same thing? And discovering the purpose of a season allows us to harness it better. But more on that in the 3rd video. Today, the question is, how do we harness the value of every single season? I'll give an example from my own life. I recently started at a different company, and it was a little bit of a intervention, if you will. I was in a senior position brought into this company after a failed leadership transition, and so the business was under a little bit of pressure. We had to discover the mandate of the business again and where it was going and what needed to happen in order to bring this new season into its fruition. And a year into this process, we ran into financial constraint, which I suppose is to be anticipated because sometimes the money lags the strategy, right? And initially, this caused quite a lot of frustration with me. I didn't understand why the money wasn't coming in. Why were we not seeing this breakthrough? We pivoted the strategy, we did all our research, we did all our preparation, we did all the work. And yet the finances lagged, in my experience, too long. And as a result, we went through a season where we had to really control the budget quite tightly. And not just at the highest level, but it had to permeate the organization. A cost consciousness almost had to go into every nook and cranny of the organization and how we do what we do. And the beautiful thing that I discovered in this season is because we were preparing for a new season of growth, we now had an incredibly rare opportunity to make sure that the organization was as efficient as it possibly could be. And that allowed us in a next season of growth and of funding to make sure that every single cent goes towards something that actually makes an impact, that makes a difference. And the question that I was confronted with is, had we not gone through a season of constraint, which in our mind is obviously bad, something must be wrong, it's a negative season, but had we not gone through that, would we ever have prioritized the effort to identify the little foxes that are destroying the vineyard? And so now in this season of constraint, we get given a gift to stop, to slow down, and to go into the detail. Because in seasons of abundance, there's too much happening. There's too much growth and new projects and new stuff that requires our attention, that we almost deprioritize the small things, the anchors that we've dropped along the way that are causing drag in our system. Because we now have bigger sails, so we don't mind the drag, and we can't really be bothered to lift up the small anchors because it actually doesn't justify the effort. But in a season of constraint, in a season of winter, that's exactly what happens. And I think trees are the same way. In a season of winter, they reprioritize and they say, where is the sun coming from and where should we be pushing out roots in order for that tension to be able to manage new growth when the season comes. Every single one of us is blessed with a positivity bias, and thank God for that. We have a positive expectation of our future. But sometimes when we have a positivity bias, we think about our lives along a linear upwards trajectory, right? Every year is just going to build on the previous year and it's just going to scale up. Or perhaps you might even be very optimistic and your life looks like a hockey stick. It looks like a 10x trajectory. But the reality is life just doesn't play out that way. We've got these cycles, and these cycles almost have the troghs and the valleys and the mountains, and they're constantly in flux. And yes, the general trajectory, the average, our trajectory is of course upwards. God is taking us higher and higher and higher, and He's growing the potential and making it possible for more of the God colors that we carry to find expression into the world. There are seasons of manifestation where God sows incredible seeds and revelation and truth into our lives. But then there are seasons where it's almost like He's not around. We don't see Him. We don't have all of that revelation constantly coming into our space anymore. And we might feel like, my God, why have you forsaken me? Like David does in a similar season of his life. But the reality is, in the previous season, God has already given us the seed. But the seed has to die. It has to germinate. It has to sprout new growth. And so a season of hiddenness is a season where we steward that which we have already discovered. And the risk in not doing that is to say, I am so addicted to growth. I have become such a consumer of new things that I do not steward well the incredible potential in that which I've already been given. And so we lock ourselves into a very shallow growth space, almost like Jesus does with the parable of the sower. And we just want to be the rocks. We don't want to do the work to create capacity in our soil for the roots to go deeper and bear more fruit and expand. We just want to be sowed into all of the time, and the stuff sprouts up quickly and is killed by the sun. And so perhaps one of the things we could do in our seasons is to say, what unique opportunity does this season offer that other seasons don't? Because I firmly believe that harnessing the potential of a season is directly linked to our ability to spot the unique opportunity that it offers. And in my experience, every single season, no matter how perceived the difficulty level is, no matter how big my perceived discomfort is in the midst of that season, every season has something that we can harness. In our next video, we'll explore how to discover the purpose of every season in our lives and what to do about it when we can't. Thank you so much for watching.